Okay, it's time for linear equations. An equation is when one thing equates to something else, and linear means a line. So these equations are all equations that when you graph them on an x and y axis, they look like a line of some description. Okay, but it's always going to be a straight line. That's why they're called linear equations. Now, when we look at linear equations, we want to be able to manipulate them, just as with any other form of mathematics. So we want to have either x in terms of y or y in terms of x. So if we look at the first example, we've got an equal sign, or the equation. We've got 3x minus, so 4 minus 3x equals 2. And we want to know, in this case, what does x equal? So let's look at this. We know from the past exercises we've been doing that we want to group the like terms. So we've got two terms here that are numbers, and we can group them together. So this number over here, this number 4, he wants to go and visit his friend, number 2. But in order to go and visit his friend, he needs to cross the boundary. And this is the boundary here. This is the boundary. And to cross the boundary, he needs to pay a fee. And that fee is his sign. So he's a positive 4. But when he crosses the boundary to visit his friend, he pays his positive sign and he becomes a negative 4. So we take him from this side and we put him on this side. So now we have negative 3x equals 2 minus 4, which is negative 2. And now this number here, it's not a like term, but we can still move it to the other side. And we can move it to the other side because this x has been multiplied by negative 3. So you see, we can also think of it like this. Minus 3 multiplied by x is equal to minus 2. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by negative x. By negative 3. By negative 3. So both sides have been divided by negative 3. This side cancels out, and we've got x is equal to minus 2 divided by minus 3. Any negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. So the answer is just x is equal to 2 over 3. So this is the first stage of linear equations. So we don't have the y in any of these equations. They're just expressions for x. And if I wanted to graph this x expression, I still have a y-axis and I have an x. If x is equal to 2/3, maybe 1 is here, 2 is here, then I would graph this by going to 1/3, 2/3 here. And I would just put a line there, because whatever the value of y, x, this is the x-axis, is always equal to 2/3. But don't worry about graphs yet if it's confusing, because we will go over them more later. But that was an example of a linear equation. Let's do another one together. So this is example 2, and it's on page 61. So we've got 2x minus 7 is equal to 5 minus 3x. So we want to bring the x's to the same side. Okay? But so we've got two like terms, 2x and minus 3x. Now this minus 3x, she would love to go and visit her friend, positive 2x, on this side of the equation. But in order to do that, she has to cross the boundary. She has to cross the border. And the price for crossing the border is her sine. Now there's only a price for crossing the border if you're adding or subtracting. So because we're subtracting her, if we were adding her, it would be the same. But we're subtracting her. So now she is negative 3x minus 3x. She's going to cross the border and visit her friend 2x. So she's going to pay with her negative sign. She's going to become a positive 3x minus 7 is equal to 5. Okay? 2x plus 3x is 5x minus 7 is equal to 5. Now this 7, he really wants to go and visit his friend number 5. But he has to cross the border, and he has to pay with his sign. So he becomes a positive 7. And then we have 5x is equal to 5 plus 7 is 12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Now notice when I'm dividing, I don't have to pay with a sign. So when I'm dividing, I just divide by the same number on both sides so that I can cancel this 5 out, and I get x is equal to 12 over 5. But I can also say that x is equal to 2 2/5. And that's your answer. Should we do one more? This is the third example. Okay, 2/3 of x is equal to 10. This one's easy. I multiply both sides by 3. Then this cancels out. This becomes 30. So I have 2x is equal to 30. Then I divide both sides by 2. And I get x is equal to 30 divided by 2, 15. Because these two 2's cancel out. And x is equal to 15. So now you can go on to do some exercises in exercise 12.